Brent is wearing Mjolnir. Viking society was patriarchal. Are you wearing? Oh, I see. Modern Scandinavia is highly egalitarian and classic gender differences are more delineated. In other words, more clear.
Yeah, I
Neo-pagan Odinism is patriarchal. This is ironic. Can you rectify the inconsistency?
yeah, because Vikings are cool. It doesn't mean that I like everything about Viking society. I freaking love Scandinavia. I've actually led international adventure hikes in Iceland, like professionally, 3 times,
You love
and
those homogenous nations that are white, do you?
it's not homogenous there, actually. The problem with Iceland is that it has the same population as northern Kentucky. So they are very careful about who they let into the country, but they do take in, um, you know, a decent percentage of refugees.
Now,
Um,
and
Say what?
recently, my understanding is that they're going to stop doing that.
I mean, they may stop doing it temporarily or whatever, but like that's just government policy. The point is that the population is so small, they need to be sort of extra careful about that. But also, it leads to there's like a freaking app in Iceland that like
Why do they need to be careful
go
about that?
well because I would say because their population is so small,
Yeah.
there is a risk
Mm.
of serious changes to their way of life if a whole bunch of people start coming in that are not that are not Icelandic. Now, I have
Now, here
issue
in the United States, is that the same thing too? If we have mass
no because there's
migration,
350 million New York, or I'm
but
sorry,
if we
150
have a
million
threshold where like
Americans.
60% of your nation is immigrants, do you think that that's a threat to our way of life?
Um, I would say that the size of our country,
Hmm.
uh, with regard to both like the actual space and resources that we have, but also with the diversity of our base, I don't think that immigration to the United States would have the same effect as it would
So
in.
Scandinavians deserve to be Scandinavian.
I mean, I would say that the specific island of Iceland
Hmm.
um, deserves to make sure that it remains
Icelandic.
not Icelandic, but
Oh,
basically that it remains
culturally homogenous.
not culturally homogenous because they're not culturally
Okay,
homogenous.
then it remains what? What
Basically, that it
what does
remains.
it need to remain?
Um, well, I would say that it has to deal with the ecology of the country and
Ecology. What do you
also
mean?
I'm talking about like if a whole bunch of people go to Iceland, there's not very much property to be, so they're going to be expanding, and you're going to get larger cities, which is going to destroy the natural world. That because again, it's such a small country and a small place, the impact of that is something that it cannot as easily
Well,
absorb
can't you
as it.
just make it scalable? So, like, you just do the equal amounts of
Well,
population to immigrants that the United States brings in, right?
I mean, that's kind of what they did. Like I said, they took in a bunch of refugees
Yeah,
out.
and then they didn't like it, and then they're going to stop, right?
I mean, there's always going to be people that get annoyed about things changing. That's just human
So,
nature.
your whole argument against Icelandic immigration is that they're going to destroy the natural
No,
resources.
no. My argument against it is that, well, first of all, I'm not arguing against immigration to Iceland. I'm
Mm.
just saying that I'm saying that the Icelanders are more careful with how they handle immigration because
Because
they
they
have.
want to stay Icelandic.
I would say again, like if they want to say they want to stay Icelandic, I'm not going to take too much
I
of an
mean,
issue
that's
with.
why they don't want immigrants there, right? Because they don't
I
want their
mean,
culture to get destroyed.
they do want immigrants there.
They just don't
They
want
take
enough
in
that it
immigrants.
destroys their culture, right?
Oh my god. I mean,
This
well,
one,
Isn't that
yeah,
what your
to a
claim is,
degree.
really? That you just don't want a bunch of immigrants there destroying Icelandic culture?
I mean, I would say I don't want a bunch of people there um, ruining the environment of Iceland because it's a very unique place in
So
the
if you
world.
could, let's say theoretically, allow all these immigrants to come in and they weren't going to destroy the environment, right? Then you have no
If the
problem.
Icelanders, yeah,
Even
if
if
the
they
Icelanders wanted to let him in, they
yeah,
absolutely
no,
should.
no, I know. But
Personally don't think
don't you
that.
think that they should let them in? If their only argument is you're going to destroy Icelandic culture, don't you think that they should let them in if they're not going to destroy the ecology of the place?
I think they have an obligation to let in a decent number of refugees as uh, a- relative to the size of their population, which is like a little over 300,000, I think.
Yeah,
Like I
but
said,
if
population's
if
northern
if somebody scientifically demonstrated that immigrants to Iceland was not
Mhm.
going to wreck the ecology of Iceland at all. In fact, maybe it would improve it even. Then don't you think that they have the same obligation as the United States to bring in immigrants?
I would say that I
Because who
personally
cares about their
believe
culture? That's
that
meaningless,
I
right?
personally believe that it is always wrong to stop the free movement of peaceful people.
Yeah.
I don't think that the authority of the state has the right to tell somebody where they can and cannot go live or work in general. If you could just, if you could demonstrate that they could take on a larger percentage without, destroying the actual island, which is not possible. But let's just say you got a magic wand, then yeah, they probably have
And if all those immigrants came in and destroyed Icelandic culture, just via there's so many immigrants now that the culture begins to whittle away and it all changes, and the natives who are there are very upset about that. That's not
the
actually a
issue.
problem, right?
Yeah. I mean, the issue with that is that culture is never one thing, and Icelandic culture has changed in a very big way. A
So it's
number
not a
of.
problem then.
I mean, it's a problem in as much as like they had a right to try and keep the Christians out, but they failed. Specifically because King Olaf Tryggvason was.
Yeah, I mean, forget the history. If it's a case that they can bring in all of these people and it destroys their actual culture, you don't actually care about that, right?
Their so their actual culture is not one thing. No one's
We have
culture is
to.
like that. It is a
I do want to
dynamic
push us.
process. Now, if you were sitting there and you're
But if
like,
it was going to destroy their culture to bring all these people in, right?
"Mhm,
There, what you wouldn't actually have an issue with their culture being relegated to the dustbin of history, right?
it wouldn't relegate it to the dustbin of history. Those people would become Icelandic and take on aspects. It's a
Oh yeah, they
dialectical.
have magic dirt. You just touch it and you're Icelandic now.
Oh, okay, dude, that's just racist. The
What's
point
This.
is
racist about
I
that?
hate to. I hate to.
because it
I
implies
didn't even
that
say
a
anything about
particular
race.
race.
I didn't even say
We
anything
might.
about
This is a good
race
I,
here.
chance.
I